the very close cooperation and friendly atmosphere we have had. Important things we discussed in the PIC was the long overdue integrity and transparency of the electoral process, ensuring compliance with OSCE standards. And so this remains as well our foremost, and sharing this with EU foremost priority and as essential foundation for advancements of democracy, functionality of state institutions, and budget of the state and state property, were other issues that we talked about intensely. Coming to the elections, voter must have absolute confidence that their votes are counted as cast. So we thanked the President of the Central Election Commission about her report and what we had seen. So should they improve the trust in the political system? We agreed that we will support every attempt to bring 100% rollout of the new technical issues, biometric data identification of voters, the scanning of the ballots to be transferred directly to the election counting, and having as well some more new and transparent rules for the future. This should be made in 2026 for the general elections. We see that there's a lot of budget necessary. We hear of about more than 60 million of personnel for preparation and new technical items. We encouraging the state institutions and the parliament and the government to go for this, and there is a preparedness of assisting and helping with programs from the international community, but basically these are national elections and not international elections, so first the state institutions have to care. With strong support from the steering board came as well to the issue of state property. I felt that some people are just waiting for the High Representative imposing everything, and I have to disappoint. We do not want, and I do not want to impose a rule, but we encourage that the Parliament, with facilitation, we are prepared to do, is going for having a state legislation on state property. This is unacceptable that the investments in Bosnia-Herzegovina cannot be legally, fully done easily, because there are no implementations of constitutional court decisions and other legislation. So we appreciated having seen that with the decision of the presidency of Bosnia-Herzegovina, especially with the initiative of Member Presidency Komšić and Member Presidency Pesirović, there is a draft for a law to the Parliament. I do not know, and we do not know whether it has already arrived in the Parliament, but I would encourage everybody in Parliament, including those with dissenting opinion, that they sit and talk and develop. We will help and assure that things can be implemented, assure in the sense that we are helping to give a good environment. We had as well a lot of discussions about the budget of the state, because we feel that on state level there is a policy of starving out the state. We had three of the institutions where we talked about in this. This is first, it is about the national cultural institutions. You know that I made a decision on this recently, and I gave the order that subsequently the Council of Ministers should go for having a proposal for legislation. We had the possibility to hear Minister Bosniak about her ideas, and I think this will ideas coming to the Council of Ministers as well of implementing. We know that this is a lot of work to be done, but we take it important, necessary to go ahead with these, because this is about the identity of the country. We as well had the BiH TV case given and demonstrated by the Minister of Transportation and Communication in Fauto, who informed us about the problems of getting public TV organized in a proper way in Bosnia-Herzegovina. We take this as well as a part of the freedom of media, and we will have on this as well a very strong look. And then we had the Director of the Border Police reporting about the shortfalls about the budget, the non-application of the new rule book of the Border Police, which is in the competence and responsibility of the Minister of Security message, where we heard that since 1.5 years nothing has been done. The figures of the need of having good staff for the border police is imminent. There is a lack of nearly 1,000 officers, or cadets, future officers, and we discussed as well about improving the and extending the possibility of training for new police cadets, which we see is very important. We are happy to hear that with Frontex the cooperation is improving on the European level, but Frontex will not be able to substitute missing police officer positions which are not filled because of lack of budget. So these are three of these cases we looked on, and we have a very, very strong recommendation that the state gets its right, and this is not only an issue between, let me say, entities or other places. The state has an important right to get sufficient financing for his duties. We had a very close cooperation between the European Union and the PIC to continue to cooperate closely the BiH path towards the EU, which we see as the only logical consequence for the future necessity to have a democratic structure in a democratic Europe. So we expect that all BiH institutions and political actors are focused on the dialogue and intensify their efforts to deliver reforms in line with all relevant steps set out in the Commission's recommendations of 2022, but as well in the reform agenda for the growth plan in the Western Balkans. This is not yet done, and there is urgent need to do. Let me remind that this ending year 24 is a year where there has been a lot of progress made for European integration, that now it is as well on the institutions of Bosnia and Herzegovina to contribute from their side. We see that we were very clear and discussed the territorial integrity of Bosnia and Herzegovina. No attempts of having scenarios of secession will be accepted or tolerated, because this years would cut the structure of Bosnia and Herzegovina to the detriment of all its citizens wherever they are living. Yes, despite these challenges, I find hope. We meet inspiring, dedicated people. We had this yesterday and today. We will more than ever the members of the PIC, so means the most important governments and diplomatic missions, will help to implement and to facilitate issues like state property and others. This is about the state property. I have to say that we will go on proactively very soon. This is something we take as important because of the enablement, as I said, of investments and of rule of law to be fulfilled. The road ahead is challenging, but we are optimistic, and Bosnia and Herzegovina have a good opportunity for European integration. We made clear in our own discussion that this means parallel cooperation between Dayton institutions and the European development. May I say that we all prepared already for the 30 years of the humanitarian disaster and genocide of Srebrenica, and it's the commemoration of the victims, and as well the signing of the Dayton General Framework Agreement for Peace as well in 1995, and we prepared and thought about the events taking place, and we agreed that this first and foremost has to be a Bosnian issue, not an international community, because it should take place here, and it's on the Bosnian responsible people and the citizens' initiatives to act and to check what has to be done after 30 years after this dramatic year of 1995, where we're standing, what remains to be done. Thank you very much.
Predstavnika, imat ćemo vremena samo za nekoliko pitanja, molim vas da se predstavite.
Izraeljen jedan televizija. Gospodin Šmit, dakle, evo, posljednji sastanak koalicije u Mostaru, na njemu su izostalo razgovarali o budžetu, no nakon toga na presu jedna rečenica te priče o budžetu nije spomenut upravo ovo što ste vi govorili, dakle, neophodna sredstva za opće izbore, za izborni integritet, dakle, apsolutno ne. S jedne strane, s druge strane, znamo što se desilo na posljednjoj sjednici Vijeća ministara, dakle, ministri iz reda srpskog naroda su napustili ovog trenutka kada je na dnevni red došla vaša odluka za 60 dana da se završi ova priča o konstitucijama kulture na državnom nivou, dakle, odbija se. Sad mene zanima, na tragu ovoga što sam rekla, sredstva, na koji način implementirati, odnosno dobiti ta sredstva, jer očito u budžetu nisu planirana, s jedne strane i s druge strane kako riješiti institucije kulture i ovo što ste rekli za državnu imovinu, na kraju rekli da ćete proaktivno raditi, na koji način, obzirom da je već radna grupa u kojoj Vodina završila svoj posao, postoje te smjernice parlamentu, vi ste rekli da neće nametati rješenje, pa me zanima šta znači proaktivno djelovati. Hvala.
Thank you. First about the budget, need I encourage all responsible in the coalition to go for a budget for 2025 as soon as possible. And I would like to remind that there should not be that many excuses if I come to election, or you remember that in 2022 I changed the regulation for budget for elections. It can be done and it should be done. I would see this as a very important sign as well for the European community. There's a strong look on this, and so I would not find any excuse if somebody says we have no money for elections. So maybe there's not yet a full consent, but we will assist those who want to get this consent. About the national and cultural institutions, I think we have a case. This is about the symbolic and cultural heritage of Bosnia-Herzegovina. If anybody thinks that he does not want to see, he is wrong. If there's a discussion about maybe new reflections, whatever this means, coming from other parts of Bosnia-Herzegovina, I understand this. But my information is an experience that it's better you have a short time to be set. And so far I see there will be work on legislation, and maybe it's not easy to get, but I can imagine that we come to a joint solution. About this, I read recently, coming from Mostar, some statement after this coalition meeting, how should I say, more government, less Schmidt. Wonderful. I would be happy to do this. I said, go on and do what you are obliged to do. That's your business. So you could say, Schmidt agrees with the intention of Dodik to work more. I appreciate this, and I think this is the necessity. Sometimes I have the impression that there's the idea of one would live only for oneself. You don't need watchers, you don't need priests or monks to go anywhere. Just look on yourself, on what you can contribute, then religion has a place. And so I indeed would suggest that we do not let the political pressure vanishing to say, go and do your business, and this includes a national cultural institutions issue. I will not announce that this should fall back on me. Some people said to me, it will at the end fall back on you, because what I cannot offer is the consent or the tolerance in the political class in Bosnia-Herzegovina to accept that this is an existing state and this is the future for the people in this country. So I think there's more to be done, and you're asking about what is proactive. This is exactly what we wanted to answer. We agreed, I would say, I think this is something new. We agreed that the members of the PIC that they go in not jointly, but they are working to get proactive and comprehensive understanding of what could be done in terms of legislation, budget, and so on. So we will meet again very fast in the next 2 weeks to prepare whom we will contact. This will not, sorry to say, this is not every day to the information of the media. I hope that we can then report on the media success, because these are as well complicated talks and checks, bilateral checks as well, including all members of responsible parties in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Imate li još pitanja?
Uznašanje stolice Republike Srpske, niste baš bili jasni odgovor na pitanje kolegice u vezi te imovine. Dakle, rekli ste narednih 15 dana da pripremit ćete taj neki materijal. Da li to znači da ćete opet nastaviti sa starom praksom nametanja zakona, odluka? Da li konkretno znači da ćete vi preko nekog poslaničkog kluba uputiti prijedlog zakona o parlamentarnoj proceduri, zakona o državnoj imovini, kako vi to kažete? A možda nastavak, odnosno drugo moje pitanje, da li je, dakle, evropski put BiH spojit sa vašim prisustvom i prisustvom OHR-a ovdje? Kada ćete otići iz Bosne i Hercegovine, gospodine Šmita? Čini mi se vama bilo bolje i mnogima u BiH. Hvala.
Could be better for me. For the people, I'm doubting. Thank you for your question. There's a very clear agenda, and this is in the hands of those people responsible in Bosnia and Herzegovina. 5+2, you know this. If these issues are done, the first and most important in the ranking is state property. So I would encourage just to work on it. I think it was clear that I did not say that I will go imposing anything. I will start a process of and facilitating this process. So nobody has to be shocked or fear or so on. Just work. Go on work. Not addressing you, but those who are listening to your magazine and to your information you use. I would encourage all to act together. And I feel, and I say this not only because I like blue sky, I feel that there's a possibility to do. If somebody comes and a company to Bosnia and Herzegovina and has to say, unclear whether the state property, if there's used state property, whether there's a regular and legitimate way to get it, and he has to report to his shareholders, friends, we have a problem because we cannot be sure. So we are there, as it has been the FIPA and the meeting last week of the investors saying it is complicated to be friendly to invest in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So there is such a clear figure of interest that has to be done. We have seen that the investment, whoever has done it in Jarovina, and the investment in the mining in the Federation, it has have been stopped. And in a state of law and a rule of law, this means that one answers and not only ignores. Those who wanted, you asked about the relation to European Union. This is fully important because European Union is a rule of law institution. So they want to see whether one respects the institutions, first and foremost the Constitutional Court. Maybe I will be off if 5+2 has been finished, but the Constitutional Court will not be off. And so I would suggest respect them and follow them and implement it. So I think this is the message we can give.
Ukoliko nemate više pitanja, završit ćemo današnju preskonferenciju. Hvala vam lijepo još jednom.